Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to take a look at getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, and today we're going to take a look at getting started with the Gloomspite Gitz. In this video, we'll take you through a little bit about what the Gloomspite Gitz do on the table in Warcry, how they sort of function. We'll then take a look at some units we can use to start our Gloomspite Gitz force. We'll then further explore some other units to use and expand upon those initial purchases with these extra units, and finally finish off the video with a little sample warband of 1,000 renown for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own Warcry warband of the Gloomspite Gitz. Now, with that all said, you can get these rules free to download from warhammercommunity.com. You simply go to the download section of that particular website, and under the Warcry header you'll find the Destruction download, where the Gloomspite Gitz and all the other Destruction factions will be featured. Now, Gloomspite Gitz, they are quite a wide and varied pool of fighters, and they have quite a lot of different abilities as well, making for some really interesting combinations and playstyles available to the Gloomspite Gitz. They really are a force that can do a lot of different things. They don't have a lot of shooting, but they do have shooting. They don't have a lot of really powerful melee users, but they do have some. They don't have a lot of really good movement, but they do have some. They've got some of everything in there. Now, generally they do have weaker than average basic troops. Your grots aren't that great in combat, but abilities can really up the power of a lot of these different fighters available to you, generally by bringing more fighters into the fray and using teamwork or indeed a backstabbing mob mentality to bring down bigger foes. They've also got a cool reaction that definitely plays along this, where the reaction allows friendly fighters to come and aid a friendly fighter that has had an enemy move towards them. If the enemy ends within a certain distance, a friendly fighter within a certain distance of that enemy can then move in and come to help out his little buddy. But with all of this, where do we look to begin? I think the Loon Boss for me is a great start. Now, we've definitely got other options of the Loon Boss. You've got things like the Loon Boss on Giant Cave Squig, and you've got things like the Bounder Boss as well, all of which are much more expensive options. And generally with Gloomspite Gitz, we are trying to get as many bodies into this warband as possible and get lots of different activations to really take home what we can do as a force. And this is why I like the Loon Boss on foot the best. 135 renown will get you toughness 4 and 16 wounds, which is really good for a grot. He's also got 4 attacks, strength 3, 2-4 on the damage, so he's not too shabby. He gives you access to the quad ability, I'm the Boss, now stab him good, where until the end of the battle round you add the value of his ability to the attacks characteristic of melee weapon actions made by friendly fighters with the Gloomspite Gitz faction rune mark while within 6 inches of him. Once again, just when stuff is together, they get so much better. Now, alongside him, stabbers are definitely the way to go. They are your baseline grots, and you get a couple of different options in here. First of all, you've got the option between stabbers with stabber and moonshield, or with poke and spear and moonshield. These are your two different variations of close combat weaponry. Both of them will have a toughness of 4 and 6 wounds, which is pretty solid. 6 wounds isn't great, but having toughness 4 is pretty cool. What's cool about this though is that at that wound point where one attack from a lot of things generally won't kill them, so your opponent generally has to put all their attacks into the grots or fail to kill one, and at that point your grots just come back and stab them in mounds. So it's actually quite a nice wound value. It's over the cost of 1, but it's probably the cost of 2. You know, your opponent might land a crit, but it's probably not enough for a crit to kill. They have to get another hit in there, meaning they can't split attacks, meaning they have to use full attack activations to actually try and get rid of a grot. And it's sometimes, if your opponent's only got 2 attacks, they're actually going to have to put out their full attacks with 2 activations into a grot. Now, you've got the option. You can either be 1-4 on the damage here with the poke and spear with 2 attacks at strength 2, or you can get 3 attacks at strength 2 on 1-3. For me, I like just trying to go with the crit. You've got a lot of ways to boost your attacks in the Gloomspite Gitz, and that's why I prefer the poke and spears. Also, in this kit, you'll get stabbers with barbed nets, which are really cool. They've got their own unique rune mark, which is going to allow them to use another cool ability. They will drop down a point of toughness to 3 because they're not carrying shields, but the rune mark for the barbed net on a double does allow you to pick an enemy fighter visible and within 3 inches of them. And on a 3+ roll, you can, until the end of the battle round, stop that fighter making move actions or disengage actions, really stopping your opponent able to get your grots in to gang up on an enemy. Where to look to next though, and another good leader option I like is the Fungoid Cave Shaman. Now, first of all, the Fungoid Cave Shaman, toughness 3, 16 wounds, he is pretty flimsy. He's got his standard sort of wizard ranged attack, that 3 to 7 inch range, 2 attack, strength 3, 3, 6 on the damage, and a little bit of melee power as well. But the cool thing about this is you've got the triple for magic spore maws, where you roll a dice for each visible enemy fighter within 3 inches of this fighter. And on a 3 to 4, you allocate a damage point to them, or on a 5+, you allocate a number of damage points equal to the value of this ability. This just gives some extra splash damage out for the Gloomspite Gitz. Not something you awfully get a lot of in Gloomspite Gitz. You generally have quite weak fighters, so being able to use some abilities to do some extra damage, I think, is a really solid plan. Now, looking at shooters, they actually come in the same box as stabbers. So if you picked up a stabbers box, you can actually build some shooters in there as well. They're going to give you a little bit of range. They'll drop down to toughness 3 because no shields, but they will get 2 shots at strength 3, 1, 3 on the damage, which is pretty nice. They do actually have, a higher strength weapon than your stabbers, but they are melee attacks, so they're not... the stabbers will have that little bit more on them, but the shooters do provide a nice little bit of additional damage at range without having to get in combat. Looking into other cool box sets to pick up, the Squig Herd box set is really fun. First of all, you're going to get cave squigs in there. These are going to be able to get you some nice strength 4 on the table, something you don't have an awful lot of in your base grots. 3 attacks at strength 4 and 1 4 on the damage, toughness 4 and 10 wounds is pretty cool for your grots. Squig Herders are also really nice as well. They've got their own unique ability, and thanks to the Squig's ability to have that beast rune mark, you're going to be able to use some cool abilities. So, first of all, you've got the ability of the triple, which is going to allow you to use ability called Go Dat Way. You pick a friendly fighter with the beast rune mark within 4 inches of this fighter, and they can make a bonus move action. This is just going to allow you to get some extra move or really speed up your baseline cave squigs and get them to where you want to be. Now, lastly, we have the Spore Splatter Fanatics. First of all, they're going to give you strength 5, which is really cool. 6 wins and toughness 4 for 100 round, though, isn't cheap. But their big ability is going to be able to use a reaction called Spore Cloud. A fighter can make this reaction after a friendly fighter within 3 inches of this fighter is targeted by a missile attack action, but before the hit rolls are made. Until the end of the round, friendly fighters are considered to be within cover while they're within 3 inches of the fighter. So some good way to get some extra defensive bonuses onto your other grots. And also, having that strength 5 with 1 4 on the damage and 3 attacks is pretty nice for your grots as well. And so here we have our sample warband for you of the Gloomspite Gitz. Now, we've got the Loom Boss. He is our champion. He's by far the most survivable piece. Generally, when you're picking your champion, you want your most survivable piece as your champion for your warband. This is going to allow you, in certain scenarios where, champions have to survive or your opponent has to try and kill them, to make sure your champion stays alive and your opponent can't kill them. We then have a Fungoid Cave Shaman. I really like the splash damage. We don't have a lot of that sort of stuff available to the Gloomspite Gitz in general, so I think it really does a good lot for the army. And then fighter-wise, we've got 2 stabbers with poking spears and moon shields, 2 stabbers with barbed nets, 2 shooters, 2 cave squigs, 2 squig herders, and a Spore Splatter Fanatic. This is 1,000 out of 1,000 renown, and we've got 106 wounds on the table, which is slightly below average. However, with 13 activations, we're definitely above average on that by, almost half the average on top of our base activations, which is really nice. Like I said, you've got some cool abilities to be able to bring your other fighters in. The fact that you're 6 wounds with toughness of 4 is really cool on those stabbers with poking spears and moon shields, able to sort of take more damage than you might expect to actually have them taken down. And your Spore Splatter Fanatic is going to have a cool part to play in the warband as well. If you've got some thoughts on Gloomspite Gitz in Warcry, let us know down in the comments below, and if you've been playing with them, love to hear how you've been going. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, drop us a comment down below in the comment section and let us know what you enjoyed about the video and what you'd like to see more of on the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here we have at Sinful Gaming, you can do so on our Discord server, which is linked in the video's description. Also linked in the video's description is our Patreon and YouTube members, where you can go to help support the channel and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, Kenny Lauer, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giappy390, and to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, and Monty's Tabletop Terrain. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now, everyone.